Another option you have in WPF for defining validation roles, getting them evaluated and hooked up to a binding, is to use the built-in WPF concept of a validation role. These validation roles are specific to WPF. They did not get carried over to Silverlight or Windows Phone or Windows 8 XAML technologies. What you do is define a class that inherits from a validation role base class, and then you override a validate method that's an abstract method in the base class. That validate method returns a validation result object, which includes a flag to indicate success or failure, a Boolean, and an error message that can be associated with it. Once you have the validation role defined, you go and you hook it up to a validation roles collection that's on a binding. To do this, you have to use an expanded syntax that we'll see in the demo for a binding, instead of using a normal curly brace markup extension. The good thing about validation roles is they can be used to encapsulate reusable roles, which you can then go plug into different places in your UI fairly easily. But of course, the downside is the portability. And you'll see another downside is that they're not very good for context-specific roles. For general purpose roles, they're okay, but the role doesn't get past enough context about where it's hooked up to really be able to modify its logic based on the context of where it's being used. So let's take a look at a demo of how you define validation roles and get them hooked up to your bindings.